Hello and welcome to the Management Channel. And in this approach, we're going to look at the Leadership Psychodynamics Approach. The Psychodynamic Approach description: leadership involves harnessing the complex forces and dynamics at work in an organization. Constantly shifting and irrational forces underlie the seemingly rational behaviors and choices. So the psychodynamic approach acknowledges that people are complex, unique, and paradoxical beings with rich and myriad motivational drivers. The clinical paradigm. This is the framework of the psychodynamic approach to the behavior in organizations, with four basic premises. There is rationale behind every human act. A lot of mental life lies outside of conscious awareness. The central part of a person is the way he or she regulates and expresses emotions, and we are all products of our own past experiences. Here you're going to see some psychodynamic theories presented by different theorists. I'll leave this slide with you for your review. Please feel free if you need to pause longer. The key concepts of this is a focus on the inner theater, the stage filled with people who have influenced our lives both positively and negatively. We learn from both, Early experience with key individuals has contributed to our response patterns. There are core conflictual relationship themes. They develop over time and carry with us on into adulthood. Understanding this relationship helps us understand the motivation behind his or her behavior and key relationship conflicts, working to align our deep wishes with more productive interpersonal relationships. Focus on leader-follower relationships. Wilford Bion proposed three basic assumptions and groups: dependency, fight-flight, pairing. Behaviors that may result in regressive processes distracting people from their tasks. Unconscious assumption number 1 is people may unconsciously expect organizations or leaders to offer parental protection and guidance, thus giving up their control and hindering their critical thinking and initiative. Unconscious assumption number 2, the organizational world is dangerous. Participants must use fight or flight as a defense mechanism. It creates kind of a bipolar view of the world, friend or foe, in-group or out-group. It results in a sense of unit, but makes group more dependent on the leader. Unconscious assumption number 3 is pairing with a powerful person or subgroup will help a person cope with anxiety, their loneliness, or alienation, and the pairing might result in splitting with intra and intergroup conflict, or ganging up against a leader perceived to be an aggressor. Social defense mechanism. The organizational life is filled with fear and unpredictability. When anxiety is not properly managed, people will act negatively. Executives rely on existing structures and processes to hopefully contain anxiety. However, these bureaucratic routines end up creating obstacles and create employee detachment. Mirror and idealizing. Mirroring takes our cues about being and behaving from those around us. It can become collusive. Followers are eager to use their leaders to reflect what they would like to see. Leaders find affirmation of followers hard to resist. The result, leaders may act to shore up their image rather than serve organizational needs. Identification with the aggressor. Faced with a superior force, people sometimes feel the need to become like that force to protect themselves. In the extreme, those who have been threatened become those making the threats. Leader views people either for or against him, and not much in between. Folie à deux, shared madness. Collusion, where a dominant person's delusions are adopted by other members of the organization. A leader whose capacity for reality testing is impaired may transfer delusions to followers who, in order to minimize conflict, will sacrifice truth and honest criticism to maintain a connection with the leader. And 3, focus on the shadow side of leadership. Narcissism. Behaviors that range from normal self-interest to pathological self-absorption. Constructive narcissists are well balanced with healthy self-esteem, capacity for introspection and empathy, and they inspire others to be better and even change what they do. Reactive narcissists are fixated on issues of power, status, and superiority. They don't tolerate disagreement and criticism, and they rarely consult with others. How this approach works. Effective organization needs to understand complexity of why leaders act the way they do. People differ in their motivational patterns. The essence of leadership is the ability to use motivational patterns to influence others. Remember, leadership is getting things done through people. Leadership is not always rational, and it does also have a dark side. Focusing on large systems may overlook sources of motivation and energy of the individuals who make up the system. The strengths. They address undercurrents of organizational life. They develop personal insight on the part of the leader. They involve in-depth and systematic investigation of a single person, group, event, or community. They focus on the underlying drivers of leaders and followers. But the criticisms does not lend itself to training in the conventional sense. There's no standard solution for every individual. It situates the intervention at the individual level. More structural and systematic organizational issues remain still in the background. Peer group coaching. Participants work together, uncover blind spots, challenge one another, identify behavior for change, and experiment with new behavior in the workplace. Tipping points for change. When participants make a connection between current choices in life and see discrepancies in their lives and work to realign those. Group coaching. You need an external group facilitator. Pre-intervention interviews with participants to identify major issues and complete some 360 degrees of feedback surveys. Day of intervention, the 360-degree feedback discussion, a two-way dialogue for person in the hot seat so they can voice their commitment to change. And follow-up. The group becomes mutually invested in encouraging new behaviors, encourages positive conversation, and people learn to give and receive feedback. This concludes the psychodynamic approach. I know it's quite confusing. There isn't a lot of good things to say about it. Thank you for viewing and have a great day.